everyone, welcome to episode 20 of the Gaming Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Dustin Crace, and I have to do a little bit of a disclaimer here. While we were recording the episode, the power cord to my laptop got kicked and shut my computer down. And in doing so, we actually lost the opening part of this episode, which prominently featured our guest, Cracklotus. And unfortunately, because we lost this opening part of the episode, we kind of lost Cracklotus. He's no longer really in the episode all that much, and until he comes back in at the end. So I would really like to offer a personal apology to Cracklotus, because I'm the one that does the recording, and it was my crap equipment that caused this problem. But also a personal invitation that when he wants to come back on, we will have him back on sooner than later. There's also a lot of technical difficulties in this episode. Skype kept cutting out, so there's going to be a lot of us griping, just disappearing all of a sudden, and then griping that Skype is being a piece of shit. But there's still a lot of great content in this episode, and hopefully you guys can get through our technical difficulties, which we are working on behind the scenes here, and still enjoy the episode. So here you go, guys. Enjoy. So yeah, basically I kind of kicked my power cord, and it shifted it out of the port on the side of the laptop, and my laptop battery is like dry. So,
is yours one of that where you always have to have the cord in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it dropped everything.
I have had that experience.
I heard the fan kick off, and I was like, no.
Slow motion.
Yeah.
Did you used to, or I guess you don't have the stuff on the iPad to do the recording, do you?
I can't
get the programs?
Yeah, I can't find a recording software that would let us. I mean, there's recording software on there, but it will only let you record for like 5 minutes at a time. That's not.
What?
That's not going to. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not searching hard enough. But yeah, until I get a better computer, I got to be very cognizant of that. But anyway, what I was saying was wouldn't be really surprised if there was another AGP game night with Aliens Colonial Marines, because I think we all had a really good time with that. But
I hope so, because I haven't even put it in yet.
Oh, yeah.
It is
wasn't
so much
for lack
fun
of
when
trying,
you have people
Chance.
to play
It wasn't
with.
for lack of trying.
Well, yeah, I know this.
Yeah.
And you said you did pick it up, Crack, right? Or you don't
Yeah,
have...
I did.
Awesome. We got to get you in on the next one.
Yeah.
Had this group thing. I got to leave, so I couldn't make it. But I actually played a little bit with my brother and fucking hated it. I could not get into it.
Was it the story mode or some online
Yeah,
stuff?
the story mode, like, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes into it, we just got stuck.
Online's a different beast, so maybe you'll like it. We'll see.
It's everyone enjoying the mediocrity of it.
Yeah.
Was it Ducky that got stuck on the floor?
It was my buddy Bishop.
Bishop got stuck on the floor.
We just abandoned him to die.
It was so much fun to listen to it while you guys were playing. Like this, I couldn't see it, but just imagining what was going on was just great.
There's a huge learning curve with playing as the aliens. Like, it takes a long time before you actually figure out how to do it. And then once you do it, I feel like the aliens are a little overpowered. But
I think they buff them in certain game modes. Like the one mode seemed like you couldn't kill them. The other mode seemed like it was more even. But yeah, it was a good time.
Anyway, where do we go from here?
Especially with that one that can jump on people.
Well, that would explain. I was just saying that would explain why we haven't had a proper episode in a while. Because we had the two game nights to kind of hold us over until after Steven had a baby.
Yeah, a little busy, but we're back. Hopefully, it can stay a little normal now. Throw in a game night here and there. We're still finalizing what might be the next one. I know I wanted the Blazing Angels, but no one can find that rare, hard to find game anymore.
Yeah, it's so exclusive. Yeah, I found it for $360.
That $4 game.
My GameStop has it for
Of course you did.
Yeah, it has it for $360, but no PS3 titles. You made that announcement, everyone out and ran out and got it. The next one the next one could maybe be Mario Kart. I mean, that's right around the corner.
That isn't.
That's the 20th, isn't it?
When does that
May.
come out?
It's May.
Is it May?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
May, or I want to say it's more near the. No, it is May, but it's near the end of the month.
Yeah,
Okay. For some reason, I was thinking it was April 20th, and I was like, whoa, that's right around the corner. Good.
Nah.
Good. Yeah, I used Dark Souls to help pay that off.
I just did my Dark Souls 2 video here before I did this, like at 6 o'clock. So I gave you a little shout out in there. You'll have to watch it to
Oh,
see.
thanks. Great.
Because you
But
love
yeah,
that game.
where we're gonna go from here is we're gonna go from here and we're gonna go to Boston,
Go to
where
Boston.
where
Oh my
Dustin
God.
got to go to one of an event I'd really like to go to one day. I don't think it's anywhere near my future now with little children running all over the place, but hopefully sometime in the future I'll get to go.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
PAX East.
There we go.
We would love to hear about it, man. We need to know the tales.
The
everything straight?
Tails. The Tails.
First and foremost,
Yeah.
this could be a question. You went with how many people?
6.
6 guys. So
Yeah.
6 guys. You guys road tripped from
Well,
Ohio.
5 guys, 1 girl.
5 guys, 1 girl. Road trip from Ohio to Boston.
You do
How
the
was the
math.
drive?
The drive was surprisingly okay, except for the fact that we were riding in a Dodge Caravan, and these seats are not—they're not designed to sleep in, and they're barely designed to sit in.
Oh man,
They're really bad. Like the headrests on these seats are just tremendously awful.
isn't that supposed to be like the family vehicle? Or are you talking about like one of the traveling type vans?
Well, I
Like-
initially thought when they said they were getting a van, I was like, they're gonna pull in a fucking rape van. One of those metal vans with no windows, and that's
Old school. It's going to speed up, throw you in the back.
yeah. But they pulled up in this. It was like a 13 or a 14, probably a 13 Dodge Caravan. I was like, all right, this is gonna be great. And they picked me up next to last. Ernie was the last because he was on the way. And I get there and I was like, oh great, I have the bitch seat in the back. And so I have to climb all the way in the back. And once you get in those back seats, you're stuck there. There's no getting. I mean,
Oh no.
there's barely any moving. So you have to find a position that's comfortable and just stay in that position. And it was funny because
I gotta stop you again real quick because us who know you always hear about Ernie, which would be cool for people to like meet him or get him on a video or something one day if he wants to do it with you. But I didn't know you had all these other gaming people down there to come road trip with you somewhere.
oh yeah,
cool.
and they are all listeners. Well, majority of them are listeners. I think they're all listeners.
Yeah, I heard we were some of the entertainment on the trip, which was
Yeah, that was
pretty cool.
it was awful. I was like, why are you doing this to me? But yeah. So
Are you not entertained?
are you not entertained? But yeah, so on the way up, I tried to knock out some Zelda 2, and I actually got kind of far into it before I was like, with all the constant bumps and stuff on the road, there's just no way of playing that game without dying multiple times. But I made the comment that if you want a 8-bit Dark Souls, play Zelda 2. Because honest to God, I was playing it and I was like, you have to explore these dungeons. It's, really punishingly difficult. And when you die, if you die 3 times, you lose all your experience and you have to start over again. I was like, that seems rather, familiar. But, so I put some time into it. I have a guide because, by God, you have to have a guide for that game.
It does. It seems like one I would just get lost in.
It's so like
most NES
yeah.
RPGs.
Because they didn't have enough room for text and like the word bubbles, and when you talk to people, it's like it's the most broken English you've ever seen, and you have to try to figure out what
I am error.
what they're trying to say, and you're just like, fuck it, get online. But yeah, the ride up there was okay. We drove all through the night, got there in the morning, and then went to our hotel room, dropped our bags off, and kind of refreshed ourselves, and then hit the game floor. And
So it wasn't like a Game Chasers trip where you guys stopped at all these places on the way up for game hunting.
No,
right?
the only stopping was at like, okay, I don't know if anyone knows what the gas station Sheets is. If you guys have Sheets.
Oh yeah.
Okay. In Pennsylvania, these things are like Starbucks in New York City. I mean, they're literally everywhere. And for a while, through like the entirety of Pennsylvania, we stopped at nothing but Sheets the entire way. It was ridiculous. Like you would kind of
some MTOs.
Yeah, you would kind of nod off after you got back in the car, and then you'd wake up at another Sheets. And that's how Pennsylvania was. You'd kind of nod off and wake up at a Sheets. Nod off, wake up at a Sheets. And it felt like you were going nowhere. I felt like I was in hell. Um, so we get there and we drop our stuff off and we hit the floor, and none of us have had any real sleep at all. Like, just terrible. And the first day, I mean, we were all just kind of wandering around, and I'm sure, and it's a good thing that no one recognized me at PAX, because, I mean, that first day, I must have looked like the most wide-eyed, like, drug-fueled fiend you have ever seen, because, I mean, I was just in a complete daze.
It's so big, right? I mean, did you even have a sense of direction where to go till you got your pamphlet?
And the thing of it is, like, the map that they have, I guess there's an online thing that I didn't bother to download because I'm an old man and I don't think about that. But the other thing is they have, like, this booklet that they give you that has, like, the floor map in it. And they have maps around the convention floor, but they're oriented so weirdly. Like, they're the way you're standing and looking at the map. If you were to take that map and put it over top of where you're standing, it's at like a 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
So it's not even the orientation of the way you're looking at the floor. You know, they're different. Yeah, so you have to kind of like, okay, well, there's the Gaijin Gaming booth. Okay, so that must be, okay, there's below, so I'm right here. Okay, I get it now. You know, and so the first day was just, I mean, it was pretty awful. If I don't get sleep, I get really irritable really fast. And coupled with the fact that you don't know where you're at, you don't know how to get around. It's loud.
Is it shoulder? Is it always? Was it just shoulder to shoulder the whole time?
I mean, if you're on the convention floor, it's shoulder to shoulder. There's no way around it. When you're up on like the mezzanine where the auditoriums and stuff are, it's not that bad. You know, it's more spaced out. So between that, constantly checking my 3DS for street passes. You get so many street passes at PAX, it becomes a fucking job. Because it only allows you to do 10 at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my god. And then my friend Jeremy got me hooked on the puzzle pieces. So I had to like finish the Xenoblade puzzle, and I had to finish the Final puzzle. And it became a job. And then I started playing that Find Me game. And I was like, no, I gotta beat the ghost. I need a person in a white shirt to beat the ghost.
At least you have people to play that stuff now. I still do it. So
yeah, well,
that's awesome.
So anyway, I mean, the first day, honestly, I don't remember a lot of what I did. I did some shopping, and we ate, and we attended a couple panels. I can't remember. I don't think that the Ken Levine panel was that first night.
Was that Friday? Okay.
That was Friday night, yeah. So I got really excited because I saw in the booklet that there was a panel with Ken Levine of the BioShock fame, getting ready to. There's going to be a panel on stories in games with the rise of like Minecraft and these other types of games where there's not really a story unless you make one up. They're talking about, it's supposed to be about whether or not story was even important to a game. Somewhere along the way between printing that program and the actual panel, they changed their mind on what they were going to do, and they basically just did a sort of hot topics in gaming industry. And I was really disappointed because I was like, fuck, I want Ken Levine to talk about story. I want him to talk about the process of creating a story like BioShock Infinite. And it was so funny because at the beginning of the thing, they basically said, at the end there's going to be a QA session, but we're not taking questions on irrational games. And I was like, I bet you that fucker got cold feet about talking about storyline, But what happened in the panel, I mean, the questions they talked about, like, the roles of women in video games, and sort of they did talk about the nut grabbing, spitting, teabagging culture of modern video games and how it can change and things like that. And I mean, really an interesting group of people. It was Ken Levine. It was a woman who was sort of in charge of I can't remember her name. A podcast, and it was hosted by a group of people from a podcast I've never heard of. It's like Gamers with Jobs. Have you guys ever heard of them?
Don't recall.
No, they don't matter.
Whoa.
They only got Ken Levine.
They only got Ken Levine to be on an episode, but whatever.
Well, they ain't got Dustin Christ.
Oh.
So he never really dove into the story or nothing.
Snippets. And they talked about, one of the big things they talked about, and they spent a lot of time on, was sort of the Oculus debacle. and whether the people who invested in
Do
Kickstarter,
they really think it's the future of gaming?
I mean, they think it's cool, but I mean, look, Oculus is the same way I look at 3D television. It's cool, it's neat, it's fun, but does it add anything to the way the story's told?
Okay.
You know, that's kind of how I look on it, and that's kind of that's kind of the way that they all, you know, it's a great new way to interface with the game, but does it really, you know, change anything when you think about it? Not really. It's just a different way of interpreting the game. But was the sellout to Facebook, you know, was it a bad thing? One, and two, do the people who invested in the Kickstarter, which invested is not the right word, donated to Kickstarter, do they deserve a cut of this windfall that Oculus got?
Ooh, I didn't even know about none of that.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people are pissed off because they felt like they were help funding this little indie thing, and then as soon as the indie thing got funded, they sold out to a bigger company. And, you know, everyone basically made the point that, you know, Kickstarter is a donation. You're not investing in the company. You're giving them money on good faith that they're going to finish the product. And, you know, I mean, Ken Levine asked in the room, he's like, does anyone here think the Facebook buying Oculus is a bad thing? And of course, no one would raise their fucking hand.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was a good panel, and then they opened up the QA. And I always get really scared with QAs because it's always a bunch of people asking like really dumb questions to try to be funny in front of the audience. But I mean, these people asked really amazing questions, and probably the best, probably the best question was the last one, was by a girl who was kind of going back to the role of females in the industry, and was talking about, you know, this generation in particular. There's been a very paternal theme going on in the storylines where, you know, you have Booker and Elizabeth, you have Joel and Ellie, you know, there's this very sort of man taking care of a woman storyline going on. And she kind of, you know, said, you know, would there ever be a time where it would have the more maternal instinct, you know, which is admittedly in nature the stronger instinct. The maternal instinct always trumps the paternal instinct. And, you know, it blew like Ken Levine back. He's like, whoa, you know, I didn't even think about that. And he's like, well, even with Burial at Sea, you know, where you play as Elizabeth, you know, it kind of does that. And, you know, and they had like this really great back and forth between them. And I was like, holy Christ, this girl's brilliant, you know? So, I mean, that was the high point of the night. So Ernie and I got out of that, panel. It was on a real high. And, then we found out my friends went to. Have you guys heard of Cards Against Humanity? You guys know what that is?
I want to say it sounds familiar, but
yeah,
please do explain.
I don't know. I don't know how to play it because I've never sat down and learned the rules. But it's
so
like
it is.
It's a card game, and you buy like decks that have like these.
It's a board game or a card game?
It's a card game, and it was a Kickstarter thing, and it got funded like through the roof, and now it's this. I mean, honestly, at some points in time, it was hard to tell whether I was at a video game convention or I was at a Cards Against Humanity convention. I mean,
that big, huh? Wow.
It's really getting big, and I don't know why. But I guess it's a great game. It's a fun game to play with your friends. I don't know. But they went to this panel where it was basically suggesting new cards, and these cards have like crazy sayings on them. I don't know how it's played, but if the suggestion was good,
it is nothing like I thought what it was going to be.
Yeah, did you look it up?
I'm thinking of like some type of D&D style card game.
No.
It's nothing like. Yeah, I've looked it up. It's just like a party type game. I get what you're talking about now.
But anyway, like the whole thing of the panel was like the crowd was suggesting their cards, and then the best cards that were picked by the creators, they actually stayed up all night and printed out these cards. And if you attended the panel, you got a button, and you would get these cards the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, my friends are big fans of this game. They go to this panel, right? All well and good. We've been up for about 36 hours at this point. And the panel keeps on going and keeps on going. And it's like 11 o'clock, and this panel is going over an hour. And Ernie and I are just sitting outside this panel room with all of these PAX enforcers.
Oh, no.
Those are the volunteers. And we're just sitting there listening to these people. And we're just getting angrier and angrier. And honestly, if there was no repercussions in life, I would have gone in there and curb stomped every person in that room. Is everyone here?
There
Yeah.
he is.
Yep.
All right. Okay, now we're recording again. Oh boy, this is gonna be like the Greg episode where everything went wrong.
Man.
Man.
Is Crack here?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyway, I was telling my story of rage. I would have curb stomped every person in that room, and there was a lot of people in that room. Like that was a packed. That was probably the biggest panel the entire week or the entire weekend.
Wow.
So
Cards
weird.
Against Humanity.
Yeah, and like they had a Kickstarter booth where you could go and get your card or your deck signed by the creator of the game. And I mean, it was just it was that game is I don't know why it's so popular, but it is really popular. So we finally got back to the room. We all slept, and the next day was absolutely fabulous. And I'm going to try to speed this up because I'm taking way too long. But the next day we got in line for some games. We got in line for Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
And Chance, I'm going to tell you how much I enjoyed just this little, like, I don't know, maybe I played it for 10 minutes. I actually went out and bought the 360 version of Wolfenstein.
Nice.
It
I've
just,
been looking at that game. Actually, it looks sweet.
yeah, it woke up, because I love World War II. I love reading about World War II. I love watching things about World War II. And I also love, like, alternate World War IIs.
Yeah.
Like, where it's,
That's
you
what
know,
this new game is, isn't it?
yeah. And just like zipping around, there's these Nazis with like electrical backpacks on and stuff. I was just like, oh my god, I'm all about this game. I am all about this game. I just had so much fun playing it. And interestingly enough, they had it running on the PS4,
Nice.
which you wouldn't think of when you think of a first-person shooter, right? You would think they'd have it on an Xbox, but they had it running on the PS4.
Well, it's coming out for all of them. So.
Yeah, I know that, but it's just interesting the choice. It's interesting the choices they made a lot of the times on which system to present things. But
That controller, man.
I'm
That
gonna tell you,
controller.
and let me tell you what, I was running around there, you know, shooting Nazis, and that controller, I still say that controller is like the most perfect controller. I just
So sexy.
it's so sexy. Then we got in line for this game called Lichdom Battle Mage. And while I was waiting in line, I did a little star searching, and I actually, across the crowd, I spied the coiffed head of none other than as he was looking at the Sony booth and looking at things. And there he was, the celebrity himself, Pete Dorr. And I, you know, if I was actually like walking and I passed him, I probably would have stopped and said hi to him and, you know, try to chat with him. But I was in line for a game, and you know how that is.
Oh, it's so worth getting out of line for Pete Dorr, man. Come on.
Whatever.
He would have gave you that shout out, and you would have got 60,000 subscribers. No,
I don't want that. I don't want that.
we have to be forewarned, people. PAX, like Dustin mentioned, Wolfenstein, but it's more of an indie scene, correct, Dustin?
It is
so,
more of an, yeah, it is more. Actually,
yeah.
I should have broached that. I should talk about before we get into Lichdom. The floor is basically broken up into two things. There's like the big boys with the big huge booths, and then there's the much more interesting part, which is the indie mega booth. And with the big boys, there wasn't a lot there that I was interested in. You had Borderlands 2, or the Borderlands prequel, sequel, whatever the hell it is. I don't really care about that. There was Evolve, which Evolve looks like, for people who enjoy that style of game, they're going to love it. But honestly, I was looking at it and I was like, I have no interest in this. So I didn't, try to
Yeah,
play.
if you're not into co-op stuff, you ain't gonna like it.
The weirdest booth was the Ubisoft booth because for some reason, which Ernie really loves this game, Trials Fusion. You guys ever play the?
Oh yeah, the motorcycle games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the trial stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he loves Trials, and what they had was like this big BMX ramp, like the U ramps, and they just had like a BMX rider just doing tricks on it all day long. And
Oh wow.
yeah, and I was like, for some people that the cool, they like that, but for me, I'm like that. What? It just didn't seem like it fit for some reason. They had playable demos of The Crew. Ernie really wanted to play that, but he's like, I'm going to buy it anyway, so who cares?
That kind of interests me too. The Crew. So no
Yeah.
one got any hands on with it then.
No hands on with it.
Okay.
I did want to go into Ubisoft's booth to see Child of Light,
Yes, that's what I was just about to ask you.
but at the same, I didn't. But here's
It's
the
so
reason.
close to release. Yeah.
It's so close to release, and I'm buying it anyway. So I was like, why don't I go look at something that I don't know anything about?
That's download only?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Child of Light, yeah,
Um,
digital. Which I wanted to get it on the Wii U. What is everyone else thinking
I
of
was
getting
thinking
it
Wii
on?
U too.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Wii U, but I might go PS4.
Well, if you have PS4, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I never even heard of it. So
Oh, you should check it out, man.
What?
It looks pretty awesome.
what is it?
Child of Light. We've talked
Yeah.
about it a few times on
No, don't mean I paid attention.
the.
Yeah, look at it. Looks like a really nice RPG.
Yeah.
Art style. This looks beautiful, but yeah, check it out. So continue, Dustin. Go ahead. So the
Sure.
Ubisoft booth was just
Yeah,
kind
there
of
was a huge League of Legends booth, which whatever.
LOL.
Yeah. And that was a huge draw. I guess I just never knew how big that game was, but
It's pretty big, yeah.
there
I
was a lot of.
still cannot get in. For the love of me, I cannot get into it, and still don't know why it's so popular.
I think
Yeah,
I
Arrow
just
is
can't
real
get it.
into it.
He is. I need to figure out why this draw. What's the draw for it?
I don't know, but from what
Crack.
I
Do
hear,
you play it, Crack?
No.
Okay.
but from what I hear, if you don't like that douchebag, teabag, gamer, then you probably shouldn't play it. Because there's a lot of that out there. I mean, there's a lot of nice players out there, but there's a lot of that, competitive bullshit as well.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to think of who else the big boys were. It's actually
So,
interesting.
well, since
actually-
Hearthstone had a booth there, I guess Blizzard was
Oh
there.
yeah.
You said-
The Blizzard was the other big one, and I did see the Hearthstone booth, but I was like, it's gonna be on iPad. I could just try it.
Yeah.
But it's actually interesting to me how much of PAX is dedicated to tabletop gaming. Like you wouldn't believe.
yeah.
It's like almost half.
That's where they have all the good shows where they'll do a live D&D and stuff and everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I kind of went there wanting to do some game hunting, and there was literally only like 4 booths selling video games, and one of them was video games.
Really?
Yeah, and one of them was Video Games New York, which had a great selection of Japanese imports, but man, they wanted
price.
top
Yeah.
dollar for that shit, and I was like, there was all these beautiful 360 shooters. And $80, $80,
Oh,
$80.
yikes.
Man.
I'm like, fuck off. Although if they had a PS3 Japanese Nier, I would have got that.
Yeah.
Thought it twice about it. But anyway, we went to this game called Lichdom Battle Mage, and this is a game that no one has known about, and it's a PC.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a
Never.
PC first-person caster game. So it reminded me a lot of Hexen and that kind of stuff.
Oh, sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're playing from that first-person perspective. The entire purpose of this game, the developers, which is just this little indie company, but they had one of the biggest booths there. It was crazy, and they gave out all this stuff. It was absolutely insane. The entire purpose of the game is to make the mage, which is typically, one of the squishier, weaker classes to play as, harder classes to play as, make the mage finally be a badass in a video game. And, Ernie and I kept talking about our concerns about it because it felt like it was just mindless action. We got to sit down and watch a presentation on it, and there is going to be a storyline to it. But, you don't see all that while you're playing the demo. So it just kind of felt a little mindless, but it's only, you think about this, it's in pre-alpha, and it's already gorgeous. It already runs amazing, but this is also a demo, so. But
So I'm picturing first person shooting lightning bolts and stuff out your hand, right?
pretty much, you have there's multiple abilities, and honestly, the spell crafting in this game is incredibly deep. It just looks like you just look at the menu screen, you're like, where do I even begin? But you as you play the game, it becomes more intuitive. But just looking at it, you're like, there's so many options. But basically in a nutshell, you use the left click to sort of charge up a fireball and throw it, and then you can also charge up that fireball, hit the right click, and then you can drop an AOE effect and drop like a rain of fireballs.
Oh wow.
There's
It
also
sounds like there is a PC game already called Magica where you can mix different elements of magic together, but it's more of a third person over the top thing.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's borrowing some stuff from that. Anyone's
the coolest
played that.
Yeah, the coolest thing about it though is it has this dodge mechanic because mages can't really take a lot of hits, so they have to have some way of, getting out of danger. But what they did
Mhm.
with this dodge mechanic is they also made it an offensive thing. So wherever you dodge to, and it's like a
Did they give the mages bullet time? Is that what
it's
it
it's
is?
essentially bullet time. Yes, you move really fast while everyone moves really slow for like a brief second.
Yeah.
Wherever you land, whatever spell effect you have, which in the demo you had fire, ice, and there was another one I can't remember. It's like a poison type thing. It does an AOE effect. So there was like all these combos you could do. You could like lay down your commanded AOE effect, then dodge into it and combo these huge hits.
Wow.
Yeah,
Did they say if it's just a story mode, or it sounds like it could have crazy multiplayer if
I
they
don't.
were headed that direction too?
I honestly I don't know. We talked to some of the
Yeah.
developers while we were in line, but I never even because until you said that I never even thought about like an online like a multiplayer component.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you guys like exploration and that kind of stuff, it's there. I mean, it's a beautiful, fun game that if I had a PC that would run it, I would definitely have it.
Yeah,
You
see,
said
that's me.
Hexen and he's sold. Chance is sold
Yeah.
since you said
The
Hexen.
only thing I kept thinking of while I was playing is like, damn it, I want a controller. I don't want to do
uh,
I don't want to do
well, I was
WASD and the mouse. I don't want to do
I
that.
was gonna ask you before after you finished talking about it, but I guess I can ask you now. Did you walk away from PAX thinking a little bit more, kind of want to build that PC still, or not regretting anything with behind the PS4 so early or nothing?
I don't regret my PS4 because I know it's going to eventually be coming. I'm
Yeah.
still thinking about building a gaming PC, but I'm really stuck between the games. Like,
The now or later type of stuff, right?
well,
Build
yeah,
it for now or build it for later.
because games like Lichdom are kind of few and far between for me. Like, I would like to
Yeah.
play a game like that, but really, the majority of them, I don't really have much interest in. The stuff
Well, then some.
the stuff I'm really interested in is at the indie stuff with like Below and a lot of those. God, but some of them I can't even remember. I got a bunch of cards here from stuff, but a lot of that
Well,
indie stuff is what I want to play.
let's get into that big one then. Let's get into Below and what you got to kind of see of that, because if no one's seen anything from that, I know I first saw stuff from it from it was E3 a year or two ago. They showed some footage of Below, and it just looked fantastic. And Dustin said he got to see some footage of it.
The line for Below was always pretty long, so
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way zoomed out. It feels really zoomed out. Like that, your character is so tiny on that screen. But I would say that the description of Zelda meets Dark Souls, which that's what everyone's throwing out because Below is supposed to be a difficult game, so of course you're going to compare it. The lazy person is going to compare it to Dark Souls because that just really puts the. But really beautiful. I couldn't hear the music, and I hear the music is a real selling of the game. Because of course the crazy floor and everyone had headphones on anyway. So, but just from the look of the game, I mean, if I had $500 right now to drop, that could be a system seller for an Xbox One if I didn't hate the Xbox One so much. And luckily, I think it's going to be a console exclusive for the Xbox One, and then it's going to jump to PC. So I will eventually get to play it at some point in time. But really just the sense of exploration you get in the game is awesome because, and it's going to sound bad for a second because I'm going to talk about randomly generated dungeons, but the dungeons are so beautiful and fun to explore, or at least looks like it's fun to explore, that it's going to be one of those games where like everyone's going to be talking to each other about their experience in it, and it's going to be one of those games where really the experience is your experience. And
I love a randomly generated dungeon and a dungeon crawler because for replay value alone, that's what makes them great.
And the sense I got from it is it's difficult, but it's not like punishing. Like it doesn't like, I don't know. It might be difficult to some people, might not to be some, but it never feels punishing. And that's what people kind of were saying. But Below is definitely. I mean, I hate that it's an exclusive, but Microsoft was really smart in picking that up as an exclusive because I don't know if it's a system seller for that crowd, but I mean the buzz it's getting. It's kind
so
of
the big indie game is on the Xbox.
Yeah.
And not the
Well,
PS4.
and that's the funny thing because it was in the indie mega booth because it's developed by Capybaba or however you say their name, but it's being published by Microsoft. So I don't really.
Yeah.
It kind of skirted that issue. Like, is it really an indie game? Shouldn't it be over in the Xbox One?
Oh yeah, since it's published. Okay.
Yeah. Um. But yeah. What else? I the next day we decided to wait in the line for Evil Within, and we were always wondering why the Evil Within line was really short. And by really short, I mean we waited about an hour and a half in it. And we finally got into to the Evil Within booth, and we saw why. Because it's not a playable demo. You sit and watch somebody play the game. And I made the comment on the chat that Evil Within is basically Resident Evil 4 with a Silent Hill aesthetic. And that's both a great thing and a bad thing. Because if you like that style of game, this is all for you. I mean, it's not like Resident Evil 6 where it's a heavy action game. This is a survival horror game like we used to enjoy. The bad part is, like, the animations, which they still have time to fix all this stuff. The graphics don't look that great. The animations are stiffer than fuck. It kind of reminded me a lot of Deadly Premonition in a way, because I was like, one of the tactics is, you shoot these zombies in the kneecaps and then they fall down to the ground, and you quickly throw a match on them to light them on fire and burn them up. That's all well and good, but when he's shooting them in the kneecap and the animation of them falling to the ground looks like they're taking the inertia in the chest, there's a problem there. So, but if you think about it,
after you had said that, you're pretty much the only person I heard say something positive about that game.
Yeah.
I looked up some other thoughts, and people were like, it just didn't seem. I guess they went in thinking it was going to be a nice survival horror, and it came out like from people who actually got to play it. I guess like IGN people and stuff. They just said the character has such a disconnect from what's going on around him. He plays off everything as a joke or something. It kind of takes away from the survival horror aspect. I don't know.
I think a lot of people were super disappointed that it wasn't a playable demo. Like when they waited in that line and got in there and
you guys there?
I'm here. Hello. You're recording again. I'm not sure what happened there. But I think everyone was just disappointed with the Evil Within because it wasn't playable. But I mean, there's some cool ideas in the game, but it doesn't feel new. I guess is the real problem. It just doesn't feel next gen. It feels kind of like a PS2 game in some ways. But I'm sure it'll be okay. I mean, I'm probably going to pick it up because I do enjoy survival horror. But it was.
And is that coming out for current gen? Is that coming out for PS4 and stuff too?
Yeah, I think it's coming out for everything except for the Wii U, of course. But
of course.
That was another big disappointment was that Sony had one kind of little shit-eating booth there, and Nintendo was not there at all. Except if you walked around and paid attention, because everyone had a 3DS. I mean, I maybe saw like one Vita to like 30 3DSs.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. But other than that, I guess as far as games go, and then the indie booths, there's a lot of really awesome iPad games coming out, and that's kind of a weird thing to talk about because we're kind of console guys, or PC guys, and not a lot of people like to include the iPad in that because, like the Wii, they see it as this, casual suckfest. But there's a lot of really great a lot of really great games coming out for it, and one of them that really caught my eye was Wayward Souls, and it's kind of this 16-bit Secret of Mana, Chrono Trigger-esque type action game.
Nice.
And the cool thing, whenever you talk about these types of games with iPads, you always cringe because there's going to be a digital D-pad. Fucking goddamn it! It keeps saying there's a problem with the call. I don't know.
I thought you were talking about the D-pad.
No.
Like, what? Was that bad?
Skype did that little. Skype did that little.
Oh, the red warning come up.
Yeah, and I'm like, God, fucking damn it. You always worried about that digital D-pad, and the guy that was running the booth was like, when you think about a D-pad, you need that D-pad there for the tactile contact. It doesn't make any sense to have a locked D-pad on the iPad screen because you can't touch it. You know what I mean? It just feels like the screen. So basically, wherever you plop your finger on this, that's where the D-pad is. it sounds really weird.
Well, I was gonna say I think a lot of games already incorporate that. So yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
I thought
but
Final Fantasy Dimensions did that, or did it
kind of.
not?
But even when you did that, it still had like a locked D-pad there. Like
Okay.
there's no D-pad. You don't see a D-pad on the screen at all.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird, but maybe more games do it, and I just don't pay attention. But like I was watching somebody play it, and the controls were pitch perfect.
Oh,
Like
cool.
they were running around just beating things to hell.
So it's more of a hack and slash, like you said, Secret of Mana.
Yeah, more like
Or,
Secret of Mana.
okay.
There's this. I don't think this was on. This wasn't an iPad game. I'm trying to remember where things were. Never-Ending Nightmares has this kind of really weird Edward Gorey art style, and it's so hard to describe. Go to www.neverendingnightmares.com and check it out. It's like you're trying to escape this insane asylum with all these monsters following you around. It's really just a creepy kind of side-scrolling action adventure type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so many crazy like little games. There was one game that Ernie and I both decided that it was going to just drive us insane. It's called Duet, and what it is there's a circle, and on each side of the circle you have a red and a blue ball, and you have to spin these orbs around and make it through these levels of like falling blocks. So you have to like spin the orbs around these blocks to get them through this level. It's really just looks insanely infuriating. But
That's what I'm gonna have to see because it just sounds
Yeah.
confusing.
yeah, like let me see, www.duetgame.com.
Okay.
But so many crazy weird little games. It was so much more exciting to be in the indie booth than it was in the big boys, because the big boys, you always got that feeling of like corporate fuckitude, and the indie booths are like the people who actually made the game going, look at what I did, look at this, and it's a lot more exciting being over there.
Which I'll interrupt you real quick and pose that question because I asked it in the chat there. But Crack and Chance, what are you guys' opinions on with all the great indie stuff coming out and an eventual move to digital future? Is this kind of helping with making the transition easier? I know we all love the great physical copies of games, but knowing that we can get these great indie games at kind of smaller prices, but they're great stuff, does that make digital download easier for you?
Crack, you want to go first?
Anyone can go
Yeah,
first.
sure. Personally, I'm not into the downloadable games at all. And the way I see it is I have enough physical games to probably last me a lifetime. So I don't even pay attention to that stuff at all. Like,
Oh man.
if I can't hold it, like, I'm really not interested in it. I don't know what it is. I just like have blinders on, and I have a big collection of games, and I'll just keep playing those. I probably will never buy a gaming PC. That's like way out of the question for me.
Oh, so
And
many great stuff, Craig.
iPad gaming, like, I've tried to play a few games on the iPad, and I just feel like it's just throwing money away. I'll play it for like 15 minutes and never go back to it. So
What about you, Chance?
I've never been opposed to digital.
Yeah.
I obviously, given the choice for the same amount of money, if I had a choice between physical and digital, I would always go for the physical. Just because it seems like a better value. I'm paying the same amount of money for something that I can hold as opposed to something I can't. But at the same time, it's like digital only releases. I don't mind those. I don't buy that many, but
Because you said you're looking forward to the Vita, so you can get your hands on some PS1 digital
right,
goodies,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I would love to dive into a ton of like the PS1 games that are available on PSN. I just I just haven't done it yet. And obviously that is so much better value than spending the money on the discs. And for me, especially with like PS1 and even in some cases PlayStation 2, I'm so leery about buying them anyway because I hate memory cards because I've been burned a couple of times, and it's like, I don't want to deal with a PlayStation 1 memory card ever again. So I play all PlayStation 1 games on my PlayStation 3 now just because it's like no memory card if I do it that way.
Well, I
And
can't even find a Vita memory card anywhere, at least out in stores. So
yeah,
heads up
well,
on
and
that one.
seeing like with the Vita memory cards, I'm leery about those too, but because of the price, not
Mhm.
so much about them losing my save data like the
Yeah.
PS1 one does. But I don't actually own an iPad. I use an iPhone, but it's some games I thought about buying, but it's like, you know what? I just don't like playing it on the small screen. Like I can't get into that. Like Final Fantasy Dimensions, I have really thought about buying that, but it's like I don't want to play it on my phone. I would much rather play it if I had an iPad or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the future with buying some of that stuff, especially because I think we've talked about on this podcast before. You know, console gaming is kind of days are kind of numbered anyway. Um, as far as physical releases go, especially with even like with the Xbox One, the big scare before its release about everything was going to be pretty much digital anyway.
From they've actually released some statistics about people who actually download their games on there instead of buying them, and it's actually quite high. I was actually really surprised about it.
Well,
So we may
there,
be in the minority here about who
there's
want
kind of a
physical.
I wonder about that data because there's kind of a weird thing that the Xbox One does, and I think the PS4 does it too. Is like when you put the game disc in and it installs it, it doesn't install it off the disc; it downloads it and then installs
Hmm.
that.
Okay, maybe
Yeah,
it could be where they're getting it from. Yeah, I'm not
because like
sure.
Ernie's Xbox One, we had to trick it into thinking it was offline for it to install off the disc because
Uh,
it was taking forever with his internet. But
I just checked out that duet game.
yeah,
That looks insane.
doesn't it look
The
insane?
game's people, if it's so simple, the design.
Yeah,
These are the people who I give so much credit to. Like when you get your first million, you deserve it because
yeah,
it's such a simple thing to think of, and they finally just did it.
yeah.
Simple yet so challenging.
And that's the
It's
thing about all those indie games. It's just like it's just like why didn't anyone else think of this?
exactly,
And
and you could be loaded right now.
that's why it's so exciting to walk through there because you walk through the big boys. It's like, oh, Borderlands, okay, done it. Wolfenstein. As much as I enjoyed Wolfenstein, it's a long running series. You walk through the indie booths and you're like, you just feel like you're constantly being bombarded with something new.
And it's
But
pretty
as
crazy how you mentioned the iPad and stuff because the new
yeah,
Humble Bundle this week is for mobile devices, and they have the Room 2 part of it. So I'm thinking
ah,
about getting that.
see,
So.
my girlfriend is so like stuck on the room right now. Like, yeah.
For the small price people on Humble Bundle, sorry, I keep
Yeah,
cutting you off. You
yeah.
can get R-Type 3, The Room, Carcassonne, The Cave, Baggett, Erlon, Sword and Shadow, and even more games for only just under $5.
You sound like
It's
a
well worth
commercial.
Yeah.
So hey,
Steven,
Humble Bundle, if you want to sponsor the show, you know
Steven's
how
getting
to
his
get to
paycheck
us.
there from Humble Bundle.
Exactly.
But as far as
That's
digital
very cool.
distribution goes, when it comes to indie games, I'm all for it because it allows these developers to make a very good game and release it at a very low cost. My problem with digital distribution is when the big boys do it, they charge you the same price, and then you have this massive download. Like I think I read that the next update for Killer Instinct is like 6.5 gigs. The update
Wow.
for Killer Instinct is like 6.5
Titan.
gigs.
I was gonna get Titanfall on the PC, and when I found out it was like a 40 gig install, I said sorry, no
Yeah.
thank you.
So it's
So,
it's kind of like the
ugh,
problem with our devices right now, how the battery technology is not keeping up with the CPU technology and the demands of a battery. It's like
yeah,
our hard drives are not keeping up with the size of these games, and
our download speeds.
yeah, and
Unless I was watching some guy, I was said in a chat, he downloaded like a 5.5 gigabyte game in 25 minutes. I don't know what kind of internet he had, but it was. I don't have that. I don't think most people
he,
do. So,
he didn't have Time Warner. Um, But you can buy like a terabyte or something on a hard drive, but I think everything's moving towards that solid state, and solid state's
mhm,
still kind of pricey for what you get.
yeah,
So I don't know. But as far as the indie games go, and as far as really other games, because I was kind of pissed when Second Chapter was announced as a digital only game. But now that I think about it, as like I just want the fucking game. I don't.
yeah.
It doesn't really bother me that I'm not getting a case, I guess. So maybe
Mhm.
I am evolving in that sense,
And
and
I think that's where the trick is. It's like if it
yeah,
means we get more stuff
yeah.
faster,
If it
like
means
some of these Japanese games,
yeah,
especially, then I'm all right with it.
yeah. But But I'm not really. Oh, the swag. Yeah, like I said, there was only really 4 booths. They had a lot of T-shirt booths and a lot of really awesome T-shirts. I did pick up a really awesome Metroid shirt, and I got
So
Caitlin an awesome Zelda shirt. But what?
did you feel like did you get to absorb enough of stuff, or did you feel like you were moving too much to really
Um,
get to know something too much you really wanted to get to know more about?
I didn't feel that way until I started to really go into the indie, like really pay attention to the indie booth. Like I really should have spent more time in the indie booth. Because honestly, the beginning of the second day, I was kind of like, well, what do we do now? We kind of saw everything. It's PAX on the one hand is very exciting, but on the other hand, it's also a bit underwhelming because I think the expectations for it are so high, and then you get there and you're like, oh, this is really all it is, huh?
Well,
So
my main draw to go there would be to hopefully be able to purchase games I couldn't get down here and
yeah,
purchase them in person. And when you said there are only 4 booths, that was
yeah.
kind of like, the what?
Well,
Only 4?
it seems like when I watch people's videos from PAX Prime, and maybe it's just because they go around Seattle and game hunting around Seattle, and I just stayed at
That could be it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, and even the booths that were there, like, I mean, the only thing I really found there game wise was Blood Will Tell, and I mean, I found a Popful Mail there on Sega CD, but it didn't have a price tag on it, and I was like, well, if you have to ask, you can't afford it, you know.
Yeah, that little picture. And then Alex showing off his copy.
Yeah, that bastard. But there was some cool. I mean, there's some good stuff there, and there would definitely be stuff that you could find there. But for me, it's like, you know. Plus, once you get there, you really kind of get like your butthole kind of clenches a little bit on spending money because the food's expensive. You know, the trip down there, the entire trip was expensive, from the ticket to the hotel room to the gas. I mean, you're bleeding money while you're there. So you kind of, I was really surprised at how controlled my spending was.
Well, good.
But
Good.
definitely a tiring experience. Like
So you did it once. Well, do you think you ever need to do it again? You're good.
I would enjoy it. I don't know if I could do it yearly. I could probably do it like every other year, but I would definitely like to go back. I think it'd be awesome to go back.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then I came home and slept for a couple hours and went and picked up Duncan, and his tail was wagging so hard that his entire butt was shaking back and forth. That was a good end to the trip.
Coming back home to the kids.
Yep.
Seeing the look on their faces.
Yep.
Well, awesome. Well, you guys have any questions for Dustin about PAX? Chance or Crack?
So you didn't like splurge on a $15 Cacodemon plushie?
I did not. You told me not to get it.
No, I know. I meant for yourself.
Oh no, I like Doom Chance, but yeah, I texted Chance, and they had these. The id booth had these. The id booth. It was at Bethesda. Do they own id now?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why BFG edition happened.
Okay. Yeah, they had plushies of, how do you say it? The Cacodemon?
Cacodemon, yeah.
And a Pain Elemental, and then the Space Marine. And I texted Chance, and I was like, yeah, you want one? And he's like, nah, not really.
I said if they're cheap, sure, but not for $15. I don't want one.
Oh.
No.
I doubt you find anything under $15 up there.
I did. I found a little. I don't know. They're one of those blind boxes figures, but it's like a cartoony Hannibal Lecter in a straitjacket with the mask on.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet.
I got it for like $7.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Almost bought a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Raphael head iPod speaker for $7, but I still thought that was too much for it.
Yeah.
But so anyone else other than Pete? I know you said Ernie got to high five Greg Miller. Anybody else
Ernie got to high five Greg Miller. He saw a lot of the IG. He was pointing out the IG. Did we lose him again?
Did we lose that again?
Hello. So what is that? The fourth time now?
Yeah. So high five Greg Miller.
High five Greg Miller. Pointed out a bunch of the IGN people. I was 20 feet away from Ken Levine. Who else?
I wanted to watch more like IGN video coverage just in case I saw you walking in the background, so I'd be like, hey, Dustin's in the video.
Hey. Who's that really famous cosplayer? Jessica Negri?
Ooh, Jessica Negri, yeah.
She was there, but she was not cosplaying when we saw her.
Oh, so her boobs were actually covered up.
They were sheathed. Yes.
Okay.
But there was a lot. There was a lot of cosplayers, a lot of good ones. I saw a Jude. I was really surprised at that.
Oh, cool.
I posted a picture on the fan page or the community page of the two best BioShock people I saw. Dawn Booker and Elizabeth.
Were they there
Yeah,
together?
they did really good. The Elizabeth
Or
were great.
like,
Yeah,
was it
they
just
were
two random people.
No, they were there together.
Oh.
Yeah.
It would have been cooler if they were like completely separate, dressed up as that person, and then you just happen to see them
Yeah.
side by side.
There was a really awesome Judith from Tales of Vesperia.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. There was this really good looking Asian chick dressed up as Poison, and I made the joke in the chat. I made the joke in the chat. I was like, I just saw this hot chick playing Poison. Then Alex was like, "Are you sure it was a chick?" But yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, it's cool that you got to go and have that experience.
Yeah, it's fun. What is going on?
Who's got the fan going? Or who's stuck their microphone in the fishbowl bubbles?
Sounds like someone's doing the dishes.
I don't hear anything.
That means it must be you.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not sure what would be doing it. It just started, so unless something happened, you changed something like a minute or two ago.
No. Literally. No.
That's weird. Where is it at? You got Crack on your list?
Yeah. Everyone's
All
on.
We'll kick them in, recall them, see if that helps.
All right.
You closed out the call.
Well, hey, I don't hear it anymore, so here we go.
Was everybody back?
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. It was
It
weird.
was weird.
Oh,
But
awesome.
yeah, it was a fun experience. Had a good time.
All right, no more disconnects. Well, for a change of pace, let's go. How you guys want to answer some questions we got from the last podcast?
Sure.
It wasn't too many. We only had three of them. Got Mr. RPG crazy again. He wanted to know which movies do we like better, Harry Potter or the Lord of the Rings movies? Me, Lord of the Rings all the way. I can't stand Harry Potter. So next, what about you, Chance?
I would definitely say Lord of the Rings better, but I can understand or entertain an argument as to why the Harry Potter movies might be in some ways just as epic because of how close you get to the characters. That is if you like Harry Potter, and I do.
Yeah.
And because it takes place over so many more movies, there's 7 movies to tell, or 8 movies, 8 movies to tell a story as opposed to 3, really just jam-packed movies that are the Lord of the Rings. So that's a very good question. I really enjoyed both series, but I would definitely say Lord of the Rings.
Crack.
Oh, Lord of the Rings, no question. I really haven't even watched any Harry Potter movies. Well, I saw the first one when it was on cable or something, and did not capture my attention.
I've fallen asleep in a theater 3 times, and that was one of them. It was during the first Harry Potter one. Went with the wifey who wanted to see it back in the day in the dating stages. But what about you, Dustin?
Oh boy, it's a tough one. But I might have to go on just a purely enjoyment basis here. I might have to go with Harry Potter. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because once you get past the first 2 movies, it's a pretty wild ride.
Yeah,
enjoyment. Hold on.
Yeah.
What's so fun about watching 2 guys point wands at each other and say words?
What's so fun about watching a bunch of people walking around the New Zealand countryside?
Because they're fighting orcs with bows and arrows and swords, riding on horseback majestically over mountains.
You got Sam and Frodo 69ing each other the entire time.
The whole time.
Nice soundtrack, and it looks good.
Hey,
but yeah,
Harry Potter has a great soundtrack as well.
Yeah, I really enjoy the movies. Like I said, it was actually kind of a hard to just flat out say, oh yeah, that's definitely Lord of the Rings over Harry Potter.
Yeah, they're pretty neck and neck, but I feel like by the end of it, I don't know. I'm more invested, I guess, in Harry
I
Potter.
was just going to say that.
What had
Yeah.
a more satisfying ending? Come on, at the end of Lord of the Rings, the whole endings of that, or the 4 endings it has in the one movie,
The 14 endings, yeah.
they were just so great.
I don't know. I remember, and maybe it's me. Hold on, I gotta sneeze. There we go. There's a soundbite for everyone. I remember reading the books, and that might be bleeding into it a little bit, but I mean, I couldn't put those goddamn Harry Potter books down, and I don't know, just for some reason, I just get really invested in those goddamn British kids. I don't know why. But I would say
Sure.
that, if Two Towers was tighter, because I always feel like Two Towers is so weak compared to the other two.
Did you watch Smog yet? Desolation yet?
I did watch Desolation of Smog.
Did you think that was a better middle film than Towers?
I don't know.
They both kind of felt the same to me. Like they
Yeah.
had jam-packed action in it, but then it's like it's not going to end there, and like how do you end it?
It had a really weird ending with just him flying towards Lake Town.
Yeah.
It's just like okay. I guess that's how they're ending it.
My wife was pissed in the theater because she didn't know there were 3 films.
Yeah.
She's like, "What is this?"
I mean, there was cool stuff about it, but I like the Hobbit films because it's just another excuse to go back to Middle Earth. But they're nowhere near as good as the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah, I don't think they compare with them. I think they're doing a good job with. I'm really liking the characters, like the dwarves and everyone portraying them, especially Bilbo. I think Martin's doing such a awesome job as them.
Just watching the film, though, it makes me really wish Guillermo del Toro did it instead of Peter Jackson. Because I mean, he did a great job on Lord of the Rings, but you can't catch lightning in a bottle twice. You know what I mean?
Well, and to me, from what I've seen so far, and I've never read the book, but I remember the old animated Hobbit, and it's just like the Hobbit itself just seems like a little bit lighter of a story than Lord.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings is definitely more, apocalyptic. The world is going to end unless we get here and do this.
And
whereas the Hobbit just felt more like, let's go save our home, kind of an adventure.
Yeah. And that's the weird thing about the additions to The Hobbit. They're pulling from the appendices and all these other sources, and kind of
you could tell like when Legolas came back, he's like, "You're going to give me some parts here if I'm doing this," and they have definitely given him his moment in the
Is it just me, or does Legolas look like really fat now?
It looked like they made him younger somehow. They must have coated him with makeup,
or maybe that CG effect to make him look.
Yeah,
but it has this weird effect where it's like if you watch it in order, like Hobbit and then Lord of the Rings, certain things that happen in the same thing happens in Star Wars. Certain things that happen in Lord of the Rings don't make sense. Like in Lord of the Rings, everyone's like surprised as hell that Sauron's coming back. Like what the fuck? He's back.
Yeah.
And then in this one, everyone's talking about coming back, and I'm like, now if you watch these in order, it's gonna be like, what happened? They all get hit with a hammer or something? Just forgot about.
Actually, the only from what I'm getting from the movie so far, Gandalf knows Sauron's coming, but I don't know if there's this looming presence of maybe a darkness coming. From what they're starting to say.
And that's the thing too. It's like everyone's getting like very ominous overtones about the Dark Lord returning. And then Fellowship of the Ring starts, and he's laughing, guffawing, having a great time in the Shire. It's like, shouldn't you be out hunting this guy down? They
don't have TV, man. They don't know what's going on out from the Shire.
So, while I like the whole part of adding what Gandalf does while he goes away, because in The Hobbit he just disappears for no reason.
Yeah.
And then I like that they flesh it out, but on the other hand, it kind of like it doesn't make sense within the context of the movies now.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. Well, what do we?
Great
have
question.
Here? Question number. Yeah, he hadn't had one in a while, so there you go. He made up for it. Another question from R.E. Lewis, 2011. I know I'm getting ahead of myself here, but which games or franchises would you guys like to see debut or updated trailers for this year? He gave an example, Kingdom Hearts 3, So
Of
we got
course
to
he
see
would say
some.
Kingdom Hearts.
Well, yeah.
We got to see some trailers from last E3. Which ones are you definitely interested in hearing about or seeing an updated trailer for or franchise? Especially on the Nintendo side of things, he
Yeah.
wants to know.
Well, if we're talking about the Nintendo side of things, it's got to be X.
Yeah, we
I want.
definitely want to know more from that. Or what's
Yeah.
a trailer saying single player mode with an online mode, or clarify things for us, or just give us something, or just let us know more with that.
I would also love a Wii U side-scrolling Metroid, but that's just me.
Yeah, that'd be awesome to see. Since my Retroid back-to-back binge, the 2D way is the way to go. It's awesome stuff. I can't think of all the big stuff. It'd be cool to see maybe another Final Fantasy. I mean, that game's probably 5 years away from now, but they said it's coming.
Yeah.
But 15.
It'd coming out on the PS5.
What
I
about you,
really want to
Chance?
hear something about SMT Cross Fire Emblem. That's the reason I bought a Wii U, and really haven't heard anything about it at all.
Yeah.
So I completely forgot about that game. Has it come
too.
out over there yet in Japan, or are we just?
I don't believe so.
Wow, yeah, I forgot all about that game.
I'm actually really bad about like paying attention to game development. Like it's not like until like the month before it's released I start getting excited for things.
Let's see, Nintendo side. Yeah, I don't really know. X would be the big one. So
I hope they make another Mario game because they don't have enough of those.
So what about you, Chance? Anything coming off in your head?
I would really like to see another really solid trailer for Persona Q, because I have never played a Persona game, and this might be my first Persona game, because I probably will buy it when it comes out, and that would be really awesome. Because I have a feeling it's going to kind of replace Etrian Odyssey. I don't know how far, I don't know if they'll make another Etrian Odyssey game, like an Etrian Odyssey 5. I don't know if they'll make a remake of 2 since they did the remake of 1. I don't know if they'll do that. And from what I've heard from some people is like, well, Persona Q is probably going to be where kind of that focus is going to kind of end up. So that'll be really cool to see. And I know that's not necessarily Nintendo. I mean, that's
well,
Atlas,
he said,
but it
doesn't need to be Nintendo. He just said example.
Yeah, that kind of sucks though. Like that if Persona Q replaces Etrian Odyssey, because it's like, really, do we need another Shin Megami Tensei series? Why can't we have Etrian Odyssey? It's its own thing. Why can't I don't know.
I mean, I don't know that it'll replace it.
Right,
but
right.
I just had that feeling.
I doubt it will.
Yeah.
Etrian Odyssey did pretty well, I think.
Yeah, it had to have, because I don't think Untold would have come out unless it had done, unless Atlas thought, yeah, this is a really good series, And so I don't know. I would really like to see, of course, anything Etrian Odyssey because I'm obsessed. But Persona Q seems like it'll be fun, and I don't know. I've also heard that maybe I shouldn't play Persona Q if I've never played a Persona game, and I plan to play Persona because it might have like some spoilers, like cameo spoilers. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not really that concerned. And then, of course, the new Wolfenstein game. Like, I had gotten a couple of emails a while back saying if you pre-ordered Wolfenstein New Order, then you would get access to a Doom beta. So I have no idea what this is. Like,
is there even a trailer for the Doom game yet?
No, not that I've seen. And it's just like so exciting, but at the same time, it's like I've heard nothing other than that little tidbit. It's like, well, if you pre-order Wolfenstein New Order, you get access to this beta.
Access to a single-player game?
Exactly. I have no idea. And it's exciting, and I want to see something, or at least know something. Even if I don't get to see a trailer, just tell me a little bit more about it. That would be fantastic. But that's about it for me that I can think of right off.
On the same vein, I don't have my PS4 yet, but I remember last E3 they showed that pretty much full CG trailer of The Order. I'd be interested to see something with that new trailer with some gameplay. There might actually be gameplay out there now. I don't know. Just to see what that's about. Because I know some of you PS4 owners might want your library expanded.
A little bit.
When does Destiny come out?
September?
Yeah, it's a while off.
But yet they are advertising it right now.
Yeah, I keep hearing like more things about it, and it's looking. I think it looks good. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know that I'll have a new next gen console by the end of the year, but that will definitely be high on the purchase list.
Oh
Hmm.
yeah, that was a weird thing that they didn't have at PAX. I didn't see anything on the Division. Maybe
That
I
game
just
got pushed back to like
did it.
next year, I think. Now,
Really?
yeah. I know that was one I was kind of keeping my eye on because it looked
Yeah.
kind of interesting how the whole concept worked. But yeah, it's been delayed, so maybe that's why.
Okay, that makes sense now. That's why I should keep up on things.
All right. Well, the the final question from Ducky Do Gaming. He said since the recent he just listened to the episode and it's been a while now, but he said since the recent passing, well, not passing, but closing of Time Wall Games, my question for the next episode is how do you feel about them shutting down? Time Wall Games, that is, which back in January, I believe, is when they shut down their doors. I know none of me or Chance, we don't have anything from. I don't know if Craig does, but Dustin actually got to go there.
Yeah.
So more than anyone, it might affect him the most since he was got to go there kind of personally. But it kind of stinks anytime you see a small place like that doing a service. And that's what they were doing. They were doing a service to us as gamers, putting this stuff together for us. Just what 2, 3 guys over there in the basement, Dustin.
In the back of a store, yeah.
Or backstory, yeah. And I mean, just a service
It's
to
just,
us. So
yeah.
it's just thankful for what they did while they were doing it. But you can see how it could get just out of hand if you have
Yeah.
your own life you're trying to live.
That
So,
I really think like, and I kind of had my small hand in this because I made that video when I went up there, and I didn't even think about it, but I think the YouTube gaming community just kind of put them out of business because the more people talked about it, the more interest was generated, and literally it was like 3 guys, and there's no way. I mean, that's the reason why everyone bitched and complained about those games taking a month to get to your house, but they had to
yeah.
hand make those. Each game is handmade by those 3 guys. They flashed the carts themselves. I mean, it was an impressive operation to see. And, even then, with a lot of people doing repo carts, I imagine the cartridges out there, like the sports cartridges, maybe they're drying up. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like I see sports games everywhere I go, but it's sad, but it's not unreasonable, and there's no reason for people to get upset about it because those guys have their own lives, and this wasn't their full time job. They had full time jobs on top of doing this, so
Yeah.
it's not hard to see how that can just get completely overwhelming.
Well, hopefully it was a good shutting down in a sense like, wow, we were so popular. Let's go out on a high note. Or hopefully it wasn't because they felt bad. But who knows? It could have been because they were pretty popular within the community.
Yeah.
Crack, did you ever get anything from them or anything?
I personally don't own anything by them. I was actually like saving up to make a pretty large purchase, and then I was like watching like one of Ball and Nick's videos, and it was like, oh, Time Walk Games closed, and I was like, oh, there goes that.
Yeah.
Like, so I was pretty disappointed, to be honest.
Because they were pretty expensive. If you got complete in box ones, which were you do have a couple complete in box, right, Dustin? Or
Yeah,
all yours complete in box?
I have 2 NES ones that are
Yeah.
complete box.
And that, well, I know those are a little bit cheaper than the SNES ones, but
Right.
they carry a pretty hefty price tag if you want.
Yeah.
But they do a good job over there. It's worth the money for that to be all put together. And if you donated the cart or something for it, it could be cheaper. But yeah, it does kind of stink that they're gone. But isn't there one more gaming site that does this stuff? I think Ball and Nick that uses them, but he's had
Yeah.
problems with them.
Yeah,
So I didn't think a lot of
there's-
others used them.
there's a few others out there, but like ever since I've put that program on my PSP and I can now use it as a emulator,
Yeah.
I can see like the repo scene being nice because like those Final Fantasy ones that Time Walk did were really attractive to me, and I should have ordered them, but I didn't. Because they're just nice, beautiful collection pieces. But at the end of the day, you are just playing a ROM that somebody patched, and you
Yeah.
can. And then there's also people kind of clench their buttholes about this. But I just watched Riddler on YouTube just got a EverDrive, Super EverDrive, and he was just talking about how much he absolutely loved the Super EverDrive. So, I mean, there's way to play these patched ROMs on the real system at a fraction of the cost. So it's kind of an aesthetic thing, really. If you like to have the aesthetics Time Walk was a great thing for you, but at the end of the day, you are just playing a hacked ROM, So I don't know.
Yeah. And that was all the questions for that one. A lot of comments on it on the last episode, but not too many questions. So
it was a controversial episode. We were talking about big topics.
yeah, we're talking about some Nintendo games for stuff, which we won't even try to talk about here today. So, but yeah, that was actually I'm looking at it now. We had over 500 views on that episode.
What?
Yeah, that's insane. So,
big time.
All right,
Bruno, man. Who we gonna make fun of next time?
I like his comment. Great episode, an awesome guest.
But yeah, that's all. We'll talk about some games you had playing recently. But anything else on your guys' mind you want to get out there? Crack, anything been weighing down on your mind in the gaming world?
Dark Souls.
That's a popular topic around here.
No, it was. You know what? When I was doing my video today, that I thought of for Dark Souls 2. I don't know. Did it tick you off, Dustin, when you said when someone say, "Well, the game just isn't for you"? Did you get offended if someone says that?
What ticked me off is when people said you just need to give it more of a chance, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Motherfucker, I played the game for 14 hours."
When you said you played it, I was like, "Dang, 14 hours." Yeah, if he doesn't like it by then, just give it up.
Yeah.
If it ain't catching on by then, but I can talk about Dark Souls anytime, so sure. So you've been playing some Dark Souls, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah, I actually had to take it out.
I had to pry myself from it and from taking it out, but I finally did. But when I was thinking, because I was asking Dustin that, because sometimes there can be like just AAA games which everyone loves. Which I know I was one of the main people who thought, man, I really thought Dustin would really like Dark Souls just because and you said the world, you could get wrapped into it if you just play through it, but it's just tough to play through it. But the atmosphere and stuff is there. But just sometimes the game really isn't for people. Like I know you guys really liked Etrian Odyssey. All three of you guys, I can't stand that game. I thought it was boring and too easy, and I couldn't get into that. So there's like stuff which we always think, man, why won't they like this game? Just sometimes it doesn't click with people. It just isn't there. Can you guys think of any others that are like that for you?
That's how I am with Bioshock. I don't like the Bioshock games.
Who invited this guy on here? What is going on? What?
How long did you play it though? I mean, did you give it a good chance?
I finished Bioshock 1 and I finished Bioshock again.
Okay, yeah, you can definitely say whether or not you truly liked it or truly didn't like it. And if you beat it all the way, you must have liked something about it if you played it that long.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. I want to know.
I
What
exceptional.
So what is about it? You don't know what people are liking, or
you guys are talking all over each other. Did this thing just drop again? All right, we're recording again.
Okay, so my question was, you must have liked something about Bioshock if you were able to finish even one game, let alone two.
I wanted to see the ending.
Well, I guess then therein lies the draw of those games. You want to finish them because you want to see what the hell happens.
So what was it you didn't like about them?
I guess it's just the first-person shooter is not my thing.
Oh, yeah.
The first-person thing?
I've tried to play a lot of them, and I just can't really get into them.
That's understandable. Yeah, if you're not into first-person stuff,
I thought that would be the one for me, just because of,
It's because it's so not a first-person shooter?
Yeah, but still the gameplay just doesn't click with me.
Yeah.
How about story-wise? You still like the story, or did you just couldn't get the gameplay, or all around?
I thought Infinite was pretty interesting story-wise.
Yeah.
I like the world.
Cool.
I thought the world was really cool, especially Raptors.
Yeah, Raptors.
Yeah.
The shit.
That's such a gorgeous place. You said you're waiting to play through 2 before you dive into Infinite, right? Chance.
Yeah, I'm gonna play 2 first. I have Infinite on PS Plus, so as long as I keep my subscription up, I don't have to worry about that. But I'm probably gonna dive into 2 as soon as I finish a couple of other games. that I'm
Which
currently
I
playing.
know me and Dustin have said it before, but I just have a feeling you're gonna love Infinite for some reason.
I
Just
mean,
because
but
it's more of a shooter-esque, I think you're gonna
I hope that I love 2. I mean, just for
really love it.
continuity's sake, I hope that I really love 2. But yeah, Infinite looks awesome
I really
too.
enjoyed too. I would say if you play it, when you play 2, I would highly recommend downloading the DLC, the Merva's Den, I believe it's called. It pretty good wraps into the story really well. I would highly
Was
recommend you play that.
was there DLC on the first one?
No,
No,
this isn't. Yeah, it's just the
because
second
I
one.
remember seeing like some little like blurb at the end of the first game, like, and it led me to believe that there was DLC available, but I
I
don't know.
don't recall it. And also the I played the online multiplayer of number 2 for a little bit, and I thought it was pretty fun. It's kind of entertaining. I know it might be tough to get a game night centered around that one,
I was
but
shocked too.
unless because we lean heavily to PlayStation titles because it's just easier and it's free online.
Well, I have it on
But
PlayStation,
well, cool.
and I think it's pretty cheap, isn't it? Oh, no, maybe not.
It actually is pretty dirt cheap, I
The
think.
second one is.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's the first one that was still kind of expensive because I remember when I was looking for them, um, they were kind of expensive and out of my price range at the time. Well, then I found them um, together, but
Yeah.
then I found them locally for 10 each, so I went that direction.
I see them
Cool.
both in the $9.99 and under bin at
Yeah.
GameStop.
Yeah. I'd still like to get a physical copy of Infinite though, even though I have it on PS Plus, just because I think it'll be one of those games that I really want to revisit. Probably, here's me saying it, before I've even booted the game up one time. I'll probably want to play it again. But yeah,
Well, actually, I own both Home, Bioshock 1 and 2, and Infinite, all on the 360, but I wouldn't hesitate to rebuy them again on PS3, which I'm thinking about, because they have that dual pack that came out, I think,
yeah,
with all the DLC. And I have both of them on PC as well, Bioshock 1 and 2.
jeez,
But
super fan.
I am, man. That's what you do when you're a super fan, so just gotta have all the experiences for it.
Well, didn't
So,
you buy like a lot of games like for PS3 and like get rid of the 360 version
uh,
recently, fairly recently?
yeah, that happened with a few games, but not like with Anarchy Reigns. That was one. I
Yeah,
pawned the 360 copy off the chance and picked up
yeah.
the PS3 copy.
I'm alright with it.
Is that game
I,
any good?
I still haven't
Oh,
played it.
I loved it. I thought it was a great. If you're into Platinum Game style stuff in Mad World and just beat 'em ups, and the online was really fun. That's another one I was recommending a game night around just because it's fun, quirky online stuff like a brawler online and just not a shooter or something.
Yeah.
It just to mix things up. It seemed like a good time.
I remember when you first got it, you were talking it up pretty big, and I was pretty stoked to play it. But then I didn't get it, and I didn't get it. Now I have it, but I have it on 360, and there's probably no one playing it anymore.
Which Dustin can comment on this one. If like, is it is anyone else seeing their 360 get less and less playtime these days?
The only reason my 360 is getting touched right now is because I'm playing Lost Odyssey.
No.
Yeah, like I've talked about this before. Like I booted up because we watched, my girlfriend and I watched Scott Pilgrim, and then I was like, I got the game of this. She's like, oh, can we play it? And I booted up the 360, and I just forgot how annoying that 360 dashboard is, and I was just so infuriated trying to figure out what to do. Ah,
Mine was
Oh,
on for a little
it's
bit.
just not for you.
it's just not for me.
It's not. Mine
It's
was
too
on a little
hipster.
bit.
You just give it some more time, Dustin. Motherfucker, I've had the system for 7 years.
Well, it's changed a lot in 7 years too.
It
I remember
has.
when I first got it, it was like so different than it is now. I mean,
That's-
so different.
Yeah, that's something that Ernie texted me earlier because he was trying to find Trials Fusion on the Xbox One, and he spent 20 minutes going through that damn menu system. Couldn't find it anywhere. Got on the PS4 and it was right on the homepage.
I would always go just to the search and search
Yeah,
Trials
kidding.
Fusion. Boom. But what? That's kind of weird. What makes him turn on that Xbox first before he wants to turn on the PS4?
I think it's just kind of muscle memory.
Uh,
People boot up the for a long time, Xbox was like, the number one system. Then all of a sudden,
Well,
it feels like PS3 came back from behind.
I think Trials used to be an exclusive for them too. Maybe that's why. Kind of felt more at home. I didn't think it was on PlayStation for a while, but cool. But yeah, 360. The only reason it got turned on for me was Battlefield 4 a few months ago, and I too was playing Lost Odyssey. I'm on disc 3 of that again before I got sidetracked as well. I need to go back to that. But yeah, mine hadn't got much playtime either.
I actually
Didn't you
just
both?
bought it.
Or what'd you say, Crack?
So I actually just rebought the 360
You just there you go.
just recently.
Yours might get some playtime then. You got some stuff to play, I guess.
I played through all the shooters on, all the cave shooters, and now I'm like, now what do I do?
Well, I guess we can go ahead and move on to what we've been playing recently then, since we're kind of talking about it. And we'll let our guest lead us off. So what you been playing, Crack?
Well, like I said, I've played a lot of shooters on 360 recently, a lot of raiding. Death Smiles. I love Death Smiles. And as far as like actual games that don't take an hour, basically Dark Souls 2 and a lot of Danganronpa. I'm actually playing that right now.
Oh, sweet.
And
So Dark Souls 2, you said you put in over 100 hours already in that game, correct?
Yeah, I'm at about 120 right now.
Awesome. And still, are you started up a new Game Plus mode or anything? Or
Yeah, I'm in Game Plus.
Awesome. For some reason, it never gets old playing that one. Like you're saying, it's hard to get the disc out of the system once I put. It wasn't hard for Dustin. But
Bonfire aesthetics are awesome.
Yeah, he was ready to pick that disc out and just crack it in half.
I was literally
that would have been awesome to see a video of that you
Yeah.
hammering it or way or something.
While I was waiting on your package to arrive, I was sitting there looking at it on my entertainment center. I was just like, God, I gotta get this out of my apartment. I mean, honestly, as soon as your package came, I came upstairs, opened it, ripped it open, pulled the case out, slapped the disc in, went back out the apartment, and went straight to GameStop. Like, I didn't even like take Duncan out or anything. I just went. I was like,
Oh,
gone.
that's so funny. The it was cool you didn't use your codes in that Black Armor edition because the theme, the PlayStation theme it comes with is freaking awesome, man. So I appreciate that you had those intact in there.
Enjoy my GameStop.
I wanted to find something else to send you.
My GameStop has another Black Armor edition, so there you go. Oh God, it stopped again. Skype is stuck in the night.
Wow,
Ugh.
unbelievable. I don't even know if the last thing that was said.
I was talking about getting rid of that disc. Right?
I heard the theme. You said the theme was awesome.
Theme.
Yeah.
And I said that my GameStop still has one Black Armor edition left. So.
Oh wow.
If it wasn't so expensive and I wasn't poor, I would consider it because I really like actually what I've played so far of Dark Souls 1. And I've heard from a lot of people actually that say, 2 is actually a little bit easier in some ways just because of like how streamlined some of the mechanics are. So I'm like kind of chomping at the bit. I kind of want to buy it, but I don't know.
At first, I wouldn't have said Dark Souls 2 is the way to go until actually playing through it.
Yes.
After playing through it, it's the teleporting earlier in the game between bonfires is really nice. The boss fights
and the kill limit, like when you kill them at 15 times, they go away forever. That part, it's like, oh man, I wish I could do that in Dark Souls 1 so bad.
And the boss fights are way easier in this game, which Crack can attest to. There's some that are just a joke in the game.
The last one, oh my god.
Yeah, even your final bosses. So all around, it is kind of easier for just traveling and stuff like that. So I would say go with the second one.
Yeah, I'm really thinking about it, and I'm not gonna jump on it right away. I'll wait a while till there's a price drop because it's not like I'm gonna devote a lot of time to it. Right
It'll get to the $20 range.
Yeah, and I kind of want to get a physical version of the first one too because I just have it on arcade right now. But yeah, so I'm actually kind of jumping on board with some of it, but I'll give it some time. I'm not.
What else? What are you playing right now? Go ahead and go into it.
Well, I'm playing 2 of my very favorite games ever right now. One is a newly Dawn.
Wizards and Warriors.
I was gonna say Wizard and Warriors.
One is a newly, a game newly dawned with the name, favorite game, and that is not Final Fantasy, Etrian Odyssey 4. That game is a masterpiece. It is so good. I'm about 30 hours into it, a little over 30 hours, and I just got to the fourth land, and it just all of a sudden got really hard, and it's one of those. It's the type of game, for me at least, the difficulty spike is not proving to be a negative thing, because I don't mind grinding in these games, because like I've said in the past with Etrian Odyssey, the grinding really feels, it never gets stale. Like, you always feel like you're moving forward, because you're harvesting different items that yield you better weapons and better armor and stuff like that. And it's just, you constantly feel like you're moving forward. The only problem that I have with this game is like the subclasses. I'm just never really sure the direction I should be going with the subclasses. Like, I don't want to subclass anyone, because I'm afraid that I'll screw myself and end up having to grind up another character, later on. So I'm kind of being hesitant with setting subclasses, and then also in turn spending my skill points. I've been kind of reserving spending the skill points, because I don't know what I'm going to need a little ways down the road. So each character has like 15 skill points or something like that that I haven't spent yet. And so, I mean, the difficulty at this point is partially my own doing, because I'm not using the skill points to level up my characters and move forward. But I'm not having a problem moving forward either. So,
Does this have the mapping thing in it too?
Yep.
In this one?
Yep, that is a staple of the series. That's half of the fun to me, like just exploring the maps and drawing it as I go. And yeah, it's really really awesome. I understand like that you don't like it though. I mean, I get that, because it's really
No, that's something I want to get with Dustin on here, because it sounded like he complained that Dark Souls didn't have a map in it, and you were sitting down with a freaking grid paper writing out your own map for a game, but that was okay.
Because grid. Well, no, actually, SMT has an auto map in it.
Oh, you were doing something with grid paper, so I was like,
Well, I thought I was going to have to.
he got mad Dark Souls didn't have a map, and he's drawing his own maps and getting mad at Dark Souls.
How the fuck am I going to draw that map?
I don't know.
construction paper.
Think about it. Yeah.
South Park style.
Yeah, Christ. Even South Park had a map, and it was literally walking left to right on the screen.
Listen, man, it would change the game, man. No, anyways, go ahead, Chance. No, actually, I like an auto mapping system, but I didn't like the having to draw out the map.
Yeah,
and
if
it auto mapped it, that'd be cool.
You didn't really have to draw it if you didn't want to, because like
it kind of auto maps it anyway.
Yeah, you would like map out at least the spaces that you stepped on. It just wouldn't put the walls and like the obstacles and things like that. But you could navigate the game without drawing the map. It would just be really freaking hard.
I thought Millennium Girl was telling me I had to do it or stuff wouldn't open up.
No,
like it made you do. Okay.
I guess maybe I'm the dumb one, because I don't know, because I did map and I never questioned it. So I don't know, but yeah, I don't think you have to. It would be stupid hard if you didn't. But yeah, it's at this point, even though I'm not finished with the game, it just feels like so much of a bigger game than Millennium Girl, and that was my favorite game of last year. And it just I don't know. This game is so huge. Because I like the skyship exploration and like the overworld, the different overworlds that you have to kind of explore, and then within each overworld, there's a few different like smaller caves that you can explore, for side missions and just bonus items and things like that, and stronger bosses and stuff that you can go and fight repeatedly, to gain experience and stuff like that, and I've kept up with the side quests quite a bit too. I've done almost every side quest, so I think I'm actually kind of over leveled for where I'm at in the game. I'm like 10 levels ahead of the suggested level, but I'm all right with that. Yeah, it's just a really really great first person dungeon crawler, and I know that Crack and Dustin are both big fans of the game too. Yeah,
I guess
yay,
they're not
nay.
going to say they agree.
Yes, yes, they are
Yeah,
not.
oh yeah, I'm a huge fan. That was my actually game of the year last year.
Yeah.
That was a tie between Millennium Girl and 4.
And I
And
think
what do you think? Like, do you agree with me that like 4 feels like a way bigger game?
It is. Yeah, it's a longer game.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean necessarily longer. I just meant like more stuff to do, like the amount of
Absolutely.
things.
Yep.
And I guess I understand it because Millennium Girl is kind of just a remake of the first game, So I get that there's not as much content, but I don't know. It feels like such a bigger game, but like everything that I liked about Millennium Girl is still present in this one because they came out so close together, within like what 6, 7, 8 months, apart from each other. I mean, they had to have been like making them at the exact same time.
Well, I can understand with the thing with Millennium Girl 2, with what you're saying with the subclass stuff. It is kind of nice with an RPG. I'm more old school. Just give me my classes and have them
Yeah,
set for me so I know what to do and go. But I
yeah,
do kind of like to mix it up, like in Bravely Default. Seems like it did a great job of making that transition easier. So I really think you'll like that whenever you're able to step
yeah.
into it, Chance, Bravely Default.
Well, okay, well,
But
like Bravely Default, could you like change your class? Like if you were a character, like change your class like on the fly, and you still have like some semblance, like strength, even if you changed your class and had to grind up a little bit, did you still have like something to grind with? I mean,
you could change on the fly as far as strength points and stuff. I'm not sure how.
you
I
didn't start
never
over. You didn't start over at 0, is what I'm saying. Like if you changed class.
No.
the class level, if you didn't level it up, would start at
Yeah.
0, but you still had so you would hit weaker and stuff. But Dustin's been through more of the game, so he can probably answer better than
You
me.
still have
But
like a lot of health though, is
Yeah.
what I mean.
yeah,
Like,
you
yeah,
still had a
yeah.
lot of health and stuff.
Your character level is separate from your class level.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm saying like if you changed your class, you wouldn't get completely decimated like on
No.
your first battle
No.
after changing class.
No,
if you
you
change
could keep.
if you change from a fighter to like a white mage, possibly. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, like as you know, with Etrian Odyssey, it's like if you make a new character to start a new class, you start over at 0, zilch. So
Ooh.
you have to like it's another character. It's not just a change of class. It's another character. So that's why I'm freaked out about like setting the subclasses and stuff because I don't want to have to
Yeah.
screw myself and have to go back and get a level 1 character and grind them all the way back up to where I need to be to get through a certain part. So that's in general that's what scares me about job systems, but
And
especially this one.
the cool thing with Bravely Default, like Dustin said, if you were a fighter but you wanted to be a white mage, you could always set the fighter class as your subclass since you might have it maxed out and you still have all the moves. So you can
Okay.
still punch people in the face if you want. It just won't be as strong, I don't think.
No.
But yeah.
Well, I definitely want to play Bravely Default. I just haven't picked it up yet. And even if I had it picked up, I probably wouldn't have started it yet.
So what
But,
else you been playing?
The other one that I've been sinking hours and hours into is my favorite Final Fantasy game, and that is Final Fantasy X. I did pick up the 10.2 HD remaster, or whatever the hell the name is, and it's just as amazing as I remember. And I think I covered it in my last video a little bit. Yeah, I don't notice the HD stuff as much, but I'm not playing it on an HD TV, so I won't pretend to, even if I was playing it on an HD TV, that I would know the difference anyway, because I just don't pay that close of attention, I guess. But I mean, I notice a few things here and there, but
Man, it
it's
looks pretty.
it's just an excuse to buy Final Fantasy X again. I was on board with it. Yeah, it's still an amazing game. I love this game. Like I said, about 30 hours. I am just after Mount Gagazet, if you're familiar with the game. Without giving any spoilers, that's kind of where I'm at. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I actually just played a little bit before we jumped on here tonight. And yeah, just it's funny too because I've only completed the game on the PlayStation 2 maybe twice, maybe 3 times. I think just twice though. But I've started it and got up to a certain point probably 6 or 7 times. Got to the Calm Lands about 6 or 7 times, and then I've kind of fizzled out and stopped playing it, and then just started over the next time I came back to it. And so I'm at a point right now where I've kind of forgotten like a lot of the events and things that are going on right now. I remember the ending of the game, but it feels like I'm in new territory now because I've forgotten so much of the game, and it's kind of nice. I'm glad that it's been a while since I've played this game.
So I forgot where I read this comment, or maybe I heard someone say it. They felt like Final Fantasy X, when it first kind of came out, I can't remember how scores were for it, but some Final Fantasy fans weren't as excited for it or didn't like it as much. Maybe kind of give it the black sheep label, but they feel like over time that's one that has garnered more love. Do you guys feel like it might have done that, or do you think it's always been a pretty popular choice?
I used to think it was the black sheep. I used to think that no one liked it. But I've been talking to the wrong people apparently. Um, I think a lot of people hold it in high regard because it was the first PlayStation 2 one, and it was the first one to have like the voice acting. It was a lot of firsts for Final Fantasy, and a lot of people also mark it as the last good one. So like I don't know. Like there's a lot of people that never got into 11, and a lot of people didn't like 12. A lot of people liked it too, and then the whole 13 debacle. And then with 14, it's just like I think a lot of people kind of mark that at the end of at least that era of Final Fantasy, and so I think it's kind of been a slow burn, I guess.
Yeah. What about you, Dustin?
For me, Final Fantasy X was kind of the beginning of the sliding point.
Yeah.
I still think Final Fantasy X is good, but that's where the series starts to become unrecognizable for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
10
Are you
really
wanting to give it another go?
I was thinking about picking it up sometime, but maybe when it gets a little bit cheaper.
I feel like I'm the only one who got the Vita copy. Like everyone bought the PS3 version.
I would. When I get it, I will buy the Vita copy. But
I think Danny bought like 6 copies or something like that.
Yeah.
The price already dropped.
Oh, did it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not one. I never thought it was the black sheep. I mean, there's clearly ones that are. I mean, Final Fantasy 2 is always going.
Especially now.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 2 or the real Final Fantasy 3 is always probably going to be the black sheeps, but especially with 13, that's a tough one for some people to swallow. But I don't know. I think it's one of those. I think Final Fantasy X was a lot of people's entry point into the series.
Yeah.
And it always seems like people's entry points are their favorite games of the series. Like a lot of people like Final Fantasy VII the best because that was their entry point into the series, and I think that's kind of what it is with 10 as well.
I think 10 is one of the easiest too. Like it's easy to get into because it's like especially the first half of the game is kind of a cakewalk.
Yeah.
If you played an RPG before, I guess.
And there's I don't know, there were some weird design choices about 10 too. Like I never liked Titus as a character. And his sword with the water in it, I was like, that's just stupid looking, I don't.
Brotherhood?
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
I'm like, who is this whiny bitch running around?
Well, anything else you've been playing, or are those the only 2 chats?
That's really been the meat and potatoes. I mean, I've played a few other things off and on, but I mean, like I said, Dark Souls, I'd probably put 4 hours into that, just a little bit here and there, but really just Etrian Odyssey 4 and Final Fantasy 10. And that's, collectively that's almost, 65 hours of game right there. So, and I should mention, I've been playing a shit ton of Street Fighter 4, both on the 3DS and on the PlayStation 3. I've been,
there you go.
especially leading up to the game night, and then afterwards, even still some too.
Well, cool.
Yep.
Well, I guess I can go into mine. I don't know how far back I want to go since we've been doing we hadn't done one of these in a while, but I'll go through them quickly if it's been too long ago. Of course, Burial at Sea came out back in March on the 25th, which I know me and Dustin both got to play through. Crack, did you play through that one or no? The download contents form? Did we lose the call again?
No, he said
Hello?
no. I heard him say no. Hello? Fucking Christ. Alright, Chance, or Steven, go.
It's me. I'm going with mine. All right, so I think I mentioned played through Barrel at Sea, which I know a couple of us all played through. Really loved how it kind of wrapped everything up. Sad to see it go, but really enjoyed that. Been playing a lot here more recently. Of course, Dark Souls 2. I've completed 2 playthroughs of it already. Just finished a video about it earlier today, so hopefully maybe up within the next day or two I'll post it on the channel. www.youtube.com/laggygamer if you want to go check it out and hear my thoughts on it.
Plug over.
But I just loved everything about it. I went through my first time more just sword and shield. Second time I went through as a miracle type build, and then now I want to go through as a dual wield build. Just so much fun. I never get bored of playing through it. So put most of my time into that, and also still putting a lot of time in the Hearthstone. And that easy card game has just got me addicted, just because it's so easy to get into. I'm looking forward to playing you, Dustin, if you ever can get that iPad one. Hopefully when it comes out this week, you dip your toes in it and see if you like it or not. But it's just really easy to get to you, especially if, like I said, if you're into Magic and stuff, it's going to catch on really quick. So highly recommend anyone try it out because it is free, and it will be coming out for your iOS devices this week. Playing a lot of that, and Call of Juarez Gunslinger. Why am I getting this robot feedback? Anyone else hear that?
A little bit, yeah.
I'm going to keep riding.
Yeah,
Call of Juarez Gunslinger. And that's just a fun arcade shooter that I've been kind of playing on the PC. It's nothing like the other Call of Juarez games. If you're into Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, because Ubisoft and them did this, it's really good. It's pretty much just like that. So for cheap, I picked it up, and I've enjoyed it. And like Chance, Final Fantasy X HD on the Vita, I actually just started yesterday. I'm only about 2 hours into it, because just been tied up with raising a new kid and all. So it's been tough to pick it up and play. But it's been so long since I played it, it's pretty much like a brand new experience going through it. I remember nothing from it. Even this intro scene and all this intro stuff, I don't even recall. I was going to ask Chance, or is new stuff been added in it, or just that grid mode, or is it just the same game?
So far, the only thing I've noticed that's new is the expert sphere grid, which I'm not actually using, and I don't know the difference. I don't know what's different about the expert one than the standard. But yeah, that's all that I can tell that's new. Everything else is old news to me. At least to the point where I'm at right now. Like I said, it's been a while since I made it this far into the game. But
well, cool. Well, I'm playing it on the Vita, and I love having it portable. And like Chance said, he's not seeing it in HD, but it looks gorgeous for an HD remake, in my opinion. I thought just the PS2 version looked good, but it looks great on the handheld. You can tell it's kind of for consoles, though, because there's some larger scenes, like especially the intro music scene. You can tell it's made for a big screen TV to see and not like a small Vita screen, but it's still gorgeous looking. So other than that, that's pretty much it. So
it's got to be pretty nice to play it on the Vita too, because you can actually just put it to sleep. Like you don't actually have to go find a save sphere. A save sphere to stop playing.
Man.
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
that would be
so
really
nice.
great. Like if I could play it like that. If I had a Vita, I'd have both versions right now. I mean, I'm confident of that. But and I think there's crossplay too. Like you can actually save on your PlayStation 3 and pick it up on your Vita and from your save. So that right there is amazing.
Yeah,
to me.
You sure can. So it's been cool. But and it's also great because the Vita does a great job at when it's in sleep mode. It keeps its battery life really well, from what I've noticed. I can have it to sleep for a week, and the battery won't even go down. So it's pretty nice. But that's about it. So if Dustin wants to knock his out the park so we can end all
Before we get
these
disconnected
interruptions from
again.
Skype. Yeah.
Yeah. Working through Drakengard, and TG Apuleius was totally correct about this game. It's really interesting, but at the same time, the gameplay is just kind of average to mediocre. But for some reason, I don't know. For some reason, I keep playing it, and I mean, I'm not having a terrible time. It's just kind of rinse repeat. Playing Shin Megami Tensei on the iPad, and actually really enjoying that. I'm surprised at how much Shin Megami Tensei 4 got me into the series, and how that has allowed me to replay this older game in the series. It's kind of cool to see all the weird correlations with it and stuff, and how the series has progressed and hasn't progressed. Lost Odyssey on the 360, getting back into that, going to finish it this time. Surprisingly, I'm kind of weirded out by how much I'm actually enjoying it. I don't know why I put it down in the first place. Is
I
everyone
was the
still?
same way. I
Yeah.
don't know why like I said, I was on disc 3 on my first playthrough. I have no idea why I put it down.
Yeah.
Because it's a classic style like I like. I mean, it's classic, like Final Fantasy type battle system.
I think it was because I bought the strategy guide and I saw that, I'm missing a bunch of the dreams, so I better restart my game. Then I was like, I don't really feel like restarting it right now. Like one of those things. What else am I playing? I started playing Zelda 2. I've already talked about that a little bit. And then on the way home, I actually, before I left, I downloaded Shining Force, the Sword of Haja, or however you
I was
say
going to say,
it.
is that the game you took a screenshot of?
Yeah.
We're all kind of wondering, what is that game?
And it's the Game Gear port of the Shining Force series. I mean, it's not it's a all new, or it's an all original game for the Game Gear. And actually, for people who like Fire Emblem but don't like the permadeath chance, this is you will love this.
Yeah, that's all me.
Yeah,
all me right there.
Like I'm so
You're such a casual.
such a casual.
I am completely a casual gamer.
No, I did the same way, man. I don't like
I am
permadeath.
so not hardcore.
But it's interesting to see just how fully fleshed out this. Because when I think of the Game Gear, I think of kind of like Game Boy games that are slightly crappier. But
Yeah,
this
you
is
don't think of a nice, well thoughtly made out game, or
yeah, but this is like a really good strategy RPG, and I'm really enjoying it. It's got a really kind of cool storyline. Of course, the text is kind of a little choppy because it's on the Game Gear, but it's on the Virtual Console on the 3DS, so definitely look into that.
man, 3 RPGs going? Oof, you're a brave man.
Well, that's because Drakengard has really taken a back seat. And SMT kind of took a back seat too, because I didn't want to take my iPad to PAX. But yeah, I'm gonna have to sit and think and focus, because I'm kind of getting into a bind here with 3 RPGs going. But I think Lost Odyssey is going to be the main focus, because I really want to get that done. But that's pretty much.
And of course,
I feel bad
dabbled in
enough
some
being
Dark
so
Souls
into 2 at the moment. But at least with me,
I've stricken that from my memory. I don't know what you're talking about, Steven. It dropped again. Motherfucker.
Yeah. I don't know what's up.
Oh my god, it's so annoying. Okay, so anyway, I don't remember even what we were fucking talking about.
You finished your last game. You had played Dark Souls 2. Then that's it.
No, I never played Dark Souls 2. I don't know what you're talking about. I never ran the game.
Well, on that note,
yeah.
I think that's it then.
I think that's it, because I'm Skype is being a bitch tonight. Jesus.
Yeah. Dustin's getting angry, and you don't want to see Dustin when he's angry. So, but no, it's sorry for all the technical mishaps here, Crack. It's been a technically difficult episode this time, man.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming in and sharing your thoughts. And like Crack said, he's been on YouTube for a few months now. But go give him a check out. Look at his stuff. If you're into games and music and stuff, he likes to talk about both of them. So definitely go check him out. We'll leave a link to his channel down below. So again, Crack, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah, guys, thanks. It's cool.
Chance, it was nice to hear your sexy voice again.
well,
Since you only make one video every 2 months now, like me, so it's
You know,
It's
and
nice to hear your voice.
it's for me. It's all just been like lack of motivation, and I moved the game room, and it's just like I don't want to make videos.
And you had your big play. We know you're too big for
Yeah,
us now. You made the newspaper.
yeah,
Your life
yeah.
is set now.
It's really taken off, you know. And I had to
Big-
turn down a role in this next production they were doing this
Oh
summer.
man, look at him turning down roles. Whoa.
Actually, I just didn't go audition. So
Like I really wanted Hamlet. If I'm not getting Hamlet, I'm not.
Excuse me, Stephen. It's the
Yeah.
Scottish play. Okay, we don't
Oh.
we don't say the title. Or no, that's Macbeth. Is it
Yes.
Macbeth or Hamlet? It's Macbeth. I can't never remember.
I can't remember.
I think it's Macbeth.
But anyways, it was fun, guys. Glad we got an episode in, and we'll work the rest off and get ready for the next episode. And hopefully, freaking Skype will cooperate with us.
Yeah.
All right, but thanks for tuning in and listening, everyone. See you later. Bye.
bye.
Bye.